20 plants that grow without water. Dona Maria always dreamed of having a garden full of life. But he had a problem. He lived in a dry place, where water was scarce and expensive. One day, while sweeping the sidewalk, he saw his neighbor, Su Zhou, watering some strange plants. "Mr. Zhou, don't those plants die without water?" she asked, curious. "Hey, Miss Maria. These are plants that hardly need water. I only water it every now and then, so as not to overdo it," he replied, smiling. Dona Maria's eyes widened. "Like this? Are there plants that grow without water?" Su Zhou laughed and approached. "Of course. There are a lot of them. I even have a list of 20. Want to see?" Dona Maria didn't really believe it, but she accepted the invitation. He followed the neighbor to his yard, where there were pots scattered around with different plants. "Look at this one," said Su Zhou, pointing to thick, green foliage. "It's the succulent. It looks like a cactus, but it's not. It stores water in its leaves, like a reservoir. It can go weeks without watering." "Ow. And this other one?" asked Dona Maria, touching a plant with hard, pointed leaves. "This is the sword of St. George. Just tough. Even forget to water it, it doesn't die. They say it even wards off the evil eye," joked Su Zhou. Dona Maria laughed. "And this one, all wrinkled?" he asked, pointing to a small plant with thick, wrinkled leaves. "This is the jade plant. It's also juicy. If you forget about it, it sits quietly, waiting for the next watering. But be careful, if it gets too wet, it will rot." Dona Maria was impressed. "And is there more?" "Yes, he has. Look at this," said Su Zhou, showing a plant with grey, furry leaves. "It's the lamari. It looks like there's a blanket on top. It holds water for a long time." "And this one that looks like a miniature tree?" asked Dona Maria, pointing to a vase with a branched plant. "That's the crassula. It's also juicy. It grows slowly, but lives for years without giving it much trouble." Dona Maria was thoughtful. "Mr. Zhou, can I take care of these plants?" "Of course. Just choose the ones you like best and follow some simple tips. First, don't soak it. Second, use vases with holes at the bottom, so water doesn't accumulate. Third, place it in a sunny place, but not that midday sun." Dona Maria smiled. "I am going to try. But what if I forget to water?" "They can handle it," assured Su Zhou. "Look at this list I made." He handed her a piece of paper. 1. Succulent 2. St. George's sword 3. Jade plant 4. Lamari 5. Crassula 6. Cactus 7. Aloe vera 8. Agave 9. Zamioculca 10. Kalanchoe 11. Echeveria 12. Haworthia 13. Sedum 14. Portulaca 15. Yucca 16. Dracaena 17. Paudiagua 18. Ripsalis 19. Donkey tail 20. Mayflower. Dona Maria read the list and sighed. "Wow, there are so many options. But which is the easiest?" "The Sword of St. George and the Zamioculca are the champions. Almost indestructible," replied Su Zhou. Dona Maria decided to start with a St. George sword. Su Zhou helped plant it in a pot with soil and sand. "Ready. Now just put it in a sunny corner and forget about it for a while," he said. "What if I want more?" asked Dona Maria. "Then you gradually increase it. Each plant has its own way. But they are all strong." In the following days, Dona Maria observed her new plant. "At first, I watered every day, but then I remembered Su Zhou's advice and spaced out the watering." To his surprise, the St. George sword remained firm and strong. A week later, she returned to Su Zhou's yard. "Mr. Zhou, it worked. My plant looks beautiful. Did you see that?" "Didn't I say?" he replied, proudly. "Now I want more," said Dona Maria, excitedly. "So let's go." Mr. Zhou smiled. "Let's choose some more." Dona Maria left there with 3 new plants, a succulent, a Zamioculca and a small cactus. On the way home, he met his friend Anna. "Wow, Dona Maria. What are you loading?" asked Anna. "Plants that don't need water," he replied, happily. "Like this?" "And truth. There are a lot of them. Want to see?" Anna was curious and went to Dona Maria's house. "Just look. This one is a succulent. This is the Zamioculca. And this is a cactus. But they don't die? Anna asked, suspicious. No. They store water in their leaves or stems. Just don't overdo the watering. Anna was impressed. Does that mean I can have a garden even if I live in a dry place? Exactly, said Dona Maria. And the best part, they are beautiful and easy to care for. Anna decided to take a jade plant home. Dona Maria was happy to share what she learned. Over time, Dona Maria's backyard became a true oasis. The plants grew strong, even with little water. She even started giving seedlings to her neighbors. One day, Sujoa passed by and saw the flowery garden. Dona Maria, you look like an expert. All thanks to you, Sujoa. She replied, smiling. No, Dona Maria. You were the one who had the courage to try. Now look at the result. Dona Maria looked at her plants, proud. And truth. Who would have thought I would make it? The secret is to choose the right plants and not give up, said Sujoao. And so, Dona Maria discovered that, even in a dry place, it was possible to have a garden full of life. All you had to do was know the right plants and give them a little attention. End. Dona Maria didn't stop there. Soon, her backyard became famous in the neighborhood. People passed by on the street just to see the beautiful and resistant plants. One day, little Lucia, aged 8, stopped in front of the gate. Dona Maria, how do you make sure they don't die? My mother said that it hardly rains here. Dona Maria crouched down and smiled. Come here, daughter. Look at this one. She pointed to a chubby succulent. It stores water in its leaves. It's like her own little corner. Lucia touched the plant carefully. And this other one? He asked, pointing to a thorny cactus. This one is angry, but strong. The thorns help protect the water it holds. And look, it barely needs watering. Lucia's eyes widened. Does that mean I can have a garden too? Of course. Dona Maria laughed. I'll give you a seedling. You take care of her and, when she grows up, tell me how it was. Lucia came out jumping with joy, with the succulent in her hand. The next day, Lucia's mother appeared at the gate. Dona Maria, you don't know what you did. My daughter can't stop talking about plants. He even stopped asking to play video games. Dona Maria laughed. Great. Plants are like children. The more we take care of them, the more they grow. Lucia's mother looked at the yard. Can I try too? Just start with 1 or 2. Then you'll see. It's hard to stop. And so, another person discovered the pleasure of having plants that hardly need water. The entire neighborhood started to change. Where before there was only dust, now there was green. And the best part, everyone helped everyone. Sujoa passed by there again and saw the movement. Look, Dona Maria. You became a kindergarten teacher. It's nothing like that, Sujoa. I just showed what I learned. The rest, people do alone. And what are you going to do now? Dona Maria thought a little. I think I'm going to start planting trees. Small ones, which grow quickly. Who knows, maybe one day we won't have shade for everyone. Mr. Joao smiled. That's a great idea. I will help you. And so, Dona Maria's yard continued to grow. Not only in plants, but in stories, in friendships, and in hope. Because, in the end, what she planted wasn't just succulents and cacti. It was the idea that, even in the driest places, there is always room for life to flourish. Dona Maria woke up early the next day. The sun hadn't even fully appeared yet, but she was already standing, with a bucket of seedlings in her hand. Today is Arbor Day, he murmured, looking at the yard. Sujoao arrived soon after, with a hoe on his shoulder. Good morning, teacher. He joked. Good morning, Sujoao. Where will we start? I think there, near the wall. The sun is strong, but the seedlings will like it. Dona Maria nodded. They dug together, a hole here, another there. The neighborhood kids showed up, curious. What are you doing? Asked Pedrinho, the youngest. Planting shade, sun, responded Sujoao. Shadow. The boy frowned. Yeah. One day, these trees will grow and we will be able to sit under them. Pedrinho smiled and took a seedling. Can I help? Of course. Dona Maria handed over a small shovel. But be careful not to hurt the roots. Soon, more people arrived. Dona Anna, with an old watering can, Ze, with a bag of fertilizer. Even Mr. Antonio, who lived in the house above, came down to see. "This is turning into a collective effort," he said, laughing. "And isn't that right?" Dona Maria wiped the sweat from her forehead. "The more hands, the faster we do it." By the end of the morning, they had already planted 10 seedlings. Small, but full of life. "And now?" asked Suzhou. "Now we wait," Dona Maria replied. "And take care. What if it doesn't rain?" Someone asked. "We water. Little, but watering. These trees are strong." Time passed. The seedlings grew. First, just a few feet. Then thin branches. Until one day, Pedrinho ran to Dona Maria, panting. "Dona Maria! Dona Maria! The trees are giving shade." She smiled and went to see. It was true. The strong midday sun no longer burned as much there. You could sit on the cool earth, lean against the trunk and breathe deeply. "Did you see that?" she said to Suzhou. "We really planted it. And it wasn't just shadow," he replied. "We planted a place to stay." Dona Maria looked around. Children played under the trees. Neighbors chatted in the shade. Even the birds had appeared, singing in the leaves. "Yeah," she murmured. "We planted a piece of the world." And so, the yard continued to grow. Not just in plants, but in laughter, in peaceful afternoons, in stories that began with a simple "shall we plant?" Because, in the end, that was it. Where there are people willing to care, life always finds a way to emerge. Time passed, and the backyard became a refuge. The plants that didn't need much water grew strong, as if they knew it was a special place. One day, little Lucia came running with a seed in her hand. "Grandma, I found this on the floor. Can it be planted?" Dona Maria took the seed, examined it and smiled. "Of course, my daughter. This one is made of ipe. One day, it will produce beautiful yellow flowers." Suzhou dug a little hole near the wall. Lucia placed the seed carefully, as if it were a treasure. Then, he watered it just a little, just for good luck. "And now?" she asked, anxiously. "Now we wait," said Suzhou. "Nature does the rest." The days passed. Lucia went every day to see if it had sprouted. Until, one morning, she shouted, "Grandmother! Grandmother! Look!" A little green twig pointed from the ground. Weak but stubborn. "I knew." Lucia jumped with joy. Dona Maria hugged her granddaughter. It saw. Life always finds a way. And it didn't stop there. The backyard became a school. Children learned about plants, about patience, about how to take care of something small and watch it grow. Neighbors brought seedlings, exchanged seeds, told stories. "Remember when it was just dry land here?" asked Suzhou one afternoon, while they were drinking coffee in the shade. "I remember," replied Dona Maria. "But now it's home." And it was. Home for those who needed a place to sit. For those who wanted to hear the birds singing. For those who just wanted a little green in the middle of the concrete. One day, a new boy appeared in the neighborhood. Thin, shy, with big eyes full of curiosity. "Can I come in?" he asked, standing at the gate. "Of course," said Lucia. "Everyone can hear." The boy looked around in amazement. "How did you do that?" Suzhou laughed. "With time. And willingly." The boy bent down and touched the earth. Then he looked at the trees. "I never planted anything." "Then it's time," said Dona Maria, holding out a seed. "Choose a place." And so, the yard continued to grow. Not just in plants, but in people. In hands that learned to care. In smiles that discovered that, even without much water, life always finds a way to flourish. The boy, whose name was Pedro, held the seed carefully. He looked at the floor, looking for the best spot. "Here?" he asked, pointing to a corner near the wall. "Perfect," said Suzhou. "The land there is good. And the sun shines well." Pedro dug a little hole with his fingers. He placed the seed and covered it with earth. Then he looked at everyone, a little embarrassed. "And now?" "Now we wait," replied Dona Maria, smiling. "And water a little when it rains." Pedro frowned. "But if it doesn't rain?" Lucia laughed. "Then we'll find a way. There are plants that don't even need a lot of water, you know?" The boy's eyes widened. "Serious?" "Seriously," said Suzhou. There are some that store water in the leaves. Others grow slowly, but don't give up. Pedro stared at the little piece of earth he had moved. It looked so small. What if nothing is born? Donna Maria crouched down beside him. Then we try again. Planting is like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we always learn. Pedro nodded, slowly. Then she raised her head and saw a butterfly land on a purple flower. Look. It's the first time she's come here, said Lucia, softly. The boy smiled. A big smile, like someone who had just discovered a secret. I think my seed is already working. Sujoa patted him on the shoulder. Could it be? Or it could be that the butterfly only liked it here. Either way, it's good. The days passed. Peter came back every day after school. Sometimes I helped water the plants. Other times, I would just sit and watch the yard grow. One afternoon, he came running. He was born. He shouted, pointing to the corner near the wall. Everyone approached. Among the earth, a fragile green leaf had sprouted. It's yours, said Donna Maria, proudly. Peter knelt down and touched the leaf carefully. She's so small. But it will grow, said Lucia. Like you. The boy looked at her, then at the plants, then at the sky. The sun was starting to set, painting everything orange. I think I also want to plant more things. Sujoa laughed. Then we get more seeds. And so, the yard continued to grow. With more plants, more butterflies, more laughter. With Pedro learning that, even when life seems dry, there is always a way to make something new sprout. Pedro came home that night with his hand covered in dirt. His mother looked at him and smiled. Have you washed your hands yet? Not yet. He showed his black nails. Just look. Mom shook her head but didn't fight. He took a damp cloth and cleaned his fingers. Will you help water the others tomorrow? I go. But my plant doesn't need water. And even. The mother raised an eyebrow. And how will she grow? Peter thought for a while. She is strong. Like Donna Maria's. Mom laughed and ruffled his hair. It is good then. But if it withers, we'll see what it does. The next day, Pedro woke up early. He ran to the backyard before he even had breakfast. The leaf was still there, firm. He knelt down and whispered, Good morning. Lucia arrived soon after, with a bucket of water. I came to water mine. Peter pointed to his plant. Mine doesn't need it. I know. She smiled. But look. Lucia took a small seed from her pocket. Do you want to plant one more? Pedro's eyes widened. What is it from? From aloe vera. You don't need a lot of water either. The two dug a little hole together. Pedro placed the seed carefully. What if he isn't born? We'll try again, said Lucia. This is how we learn. Sujoa walked past them with a hoe on his shoulder. Good morning, gardeners. Good morning. They both replied. He stopped and looked at Pedro's corner. You already have two, huh? Yeah. Pedro smiled. I think the backyard is becoming mine too. Mr. John laughed. Yard belongs to everyone. But the plants, those are yours. Donna Maria appeared with a glass of lemonade. For the workers. Peter picked up the glass and took a large drink. It was sweet and cold. Thanks. You're welcome. She looked at the seedlings. In a little while, this corner will be full. Peter looked around. The yard already had more colors, more life. Lucia's plants were tall, Sujoa's had flowers, and Donna Maria's were bearing fruit. I guess I like seeing things grow, he said. Lucia nodded. Me too. It's like we help the world a little. Peter remained silent, looking at the earth. Then he spoke softly. I don't think I'm so little anymore. Donna Maria smiled. No one gets small when they plant something. And so, the yard remained alive. With more seeds, more hope, more sunny days. With Pedro discovering that, sometimes, all it takes is a little land and patience to make things grow.